Good morning all. This video session cover few topics from chapter 3 Internet application from module 3 Database Management System subject. In this slide we are discussing 3-tier application architecture. Before going for 3-tier application architecture, let's discuss about Internet application. Internet application can be understood in terms of three different functional components such as data management, application logic, and presentation. The component that handles data management usually utilizes DBMS for data storage, but application logic and presentation involve much more than just the DBMS itself. The three-tier architecture application has been divided into three types. First one is single-tier architecture, second one is two-tier architecture, and third one is three-tier architecture. Let us begin with single-tier and client-server architecture. The single-tier client-server architecture, this application were combined initially into single tier, including the DBMS, application logic, and user interface as shown in the figure. The figure contains three parts. One is client, application logic, and DBMS. The application typically run on mainframe and user accessed it through terminals that could perform only data input and display. This approach has the benefits of being easily maintained by the central administrator. The single-tier architecture drawbacks are the user expects graphical interface that require much more computational power than simple dumb terminal. Second disadvantage is centralized computation of the graphical display of such interface require much more computational power than available within a single server. Thus, single-tier architecture do not scale to thousands of users. Here we are explaining two-tier architecture. Two-tier architecture is also referred to as client-server architecture. Consists of client computer and server computer, which interact through a well-defined protocols. In the traditional client-server architecture, client implements just the graphical user interface and server implements both the business logic and data management. Such clients are often called thin clients, and this architecture is shown in the figure. More powerful clients can implement both user interface and business logic. Client may also implement user interface and part of business logic, with the remaining part being implemented at server level. Such clients are often called thick client. The architecture has shown in the figure. Two-tier architecture physically separate the user interface from the data management layer. To implement two-tier architecture, the computer that runs at presentation code and possibly application logics are required. Client-server development tools such as Microsoft Visual Basic and Power Builder permits rapid development of client-server software, contributing to the success of the client-server model, especially the thin client version. The thick client model having the few disadvantages. There is no central place to update and maintain the business logic, since the application code runs at many client sites. Second disadvantage, a large amount of trust is required between the server and client. The thick client architecture does not scale with the number of clients. It typically cannot handle more than few hundred clients. The application logic at the client issue SQL queries to the server and server return the query result to the client where further processing take place. The large query result might be transferred between client and server. Thick client system do not scale as the application access more and more database system. Assume there are X different database systems that are accessed by Y clients, then there are X into Y different connections open at any time. Clearly not a scalable solution. The disadvantage of thick client system and widespread adoption of standard very thin client notably. The web browser have to lead to the widespread use thin client architecture. In this slide, we are explaining about three-tier architecture. A thin client two-tier architecture especially separate presentation issue from the rest of the application, whereas the three-tier architecture goes one step further and also separate application logic from data management. The three-tier architecture consists of different categorization. One is presentation tier, middle tier and data management tier. The figure 1 shows the basic three architecture. The presentation tier user requires a natural interface to make request, provide input and to see the result. Whereas in middle tier, the application logic execute here. An enterprise class application reflect complex business process and which can be coded using general purpose language such as C++ or Java. Whereas in data management tier, data intensive web applications involving DBMS. Different technologies have been developed to enable distribution of three tiers of application across multiple hardware platforms and different physical sites. The technologies for the three tier as shown in the figure 2. The first one is overview of presentation tier. All the presentation layer we need to provide from through which the user can issue request and display response that the middle tier generate. The HTML is a basic data presentation language. This layer of code must easily adapt to different display device and format. For example, a regular desktop versus handheld device versus cell phone. This adaptive can be achieved either at the middle tier through generation of different page for different types of client or directly at the client through style sheets that specify the how data should be presented. Overview of middle tier. The middle tier runs code that implement the business logic of the application. It controls what data need to be input before an action can be executed. Determines the control flow between multi-action steps, control access to database layer and assembles dynamically generated HTML page from database query result. In middle tier, code is responsible for supporting all the different roles involved in the application. For example, in an internet shopping site implementation, we would like a customer to able to browse the catalog and make purchase, whereas administrator to be able to current inventory and possible data analyst to ask summary queries about purchase histories. Each of these roles can require support for several complex situations. Consider another example. Consider that customer who wants to buy an item. After browsing or searching the site to find it before a sale can happen, the customer has to go through a series of steps. Has to add the item to her shopping bucket, then has to provide her shipping address and credit card number, and has to finally confirm the sale with tax, shipping cost added. Controlling the flow among these steps and remembering already executed step is done at the middle tier of application. Data carried along during this series of steps might involve database access, but usually it is not yet permanent. In this slide, we are discussing few advantages of using three-tier architecture. The first advantage of using three-tier architecture is heterogeneous system. Application can utilize the strength of different platforms and different software components at the different tiers. It is easy to modify or replace the code at any tier without affecting the other tiers. Next one is thin client. Client only need enough computation power for the presentation layer. Typically, clients are web browser. Next advantage is integrated data access. In many applications, the data must be accessed from several sources. This can be handled transparently at the middle tab, where we can centrally manage connection to all the database systems involved. Next one is scalable to many clients. Each client is lightweight and all access to the system is through the middle tier. The middle tier can share database connection across the client. If the middle tier becomes the bottleneck, several servers can be deployed executing the middle tier code. Clients can connect to the any one of these servers if the logic is designed appropriately. Here we are explaining about presentation layer. The presentation layers enables the user to require a natural interface to make a request, provide input and to see the result. The presentation layer make use of different languages in order to design a web page. The style sheets are language that allow us to present same web page with different formatting for client with different presentation capability. Let us consider an example, the web browser versus cell phone or even Netscape browser versus Microsoft Internet Explorer. The different languages which can be used in a presentation layer are HTML form, style sheet, CSS, JavaScript and SXL. In this slide, we are discussing about HTML forms which are being used in a presentation layer. The HTML forms are common way of communicating data from the client tier to the middle tier. The following is the general format of form, which consists of three parts: tag, form, followed by method, followed by name. A single HTML document can contain more than one form. Inside an HTML form, we can have any HTML tag except another form element. The form tag has three important attributes: action, method and name. Action attribute specify the URL of the page to which the form contents are submitted. If the action attribute is absent, then the URL of the current page is used. In the example, the form input would be submitted to the page named page.jsp, which would provide logic for processing the input from the form. Method attribute. The HTTP method used to submit the user input from the filled out form to the web server. There are two types of method, get method and post method. Next attribute is name attribute. The name attribute gives the form name. Naming form is good style through, although it is not necessary. The naming attribute is an optional. Let us see the above example. The form, the action, the name of the file is given as page.jsp and the method is called as get and the name of the form is given as login form. When you click a button, the control from HTML page will be transferred to a JSP page where actual operation can be carried out. Or I can also say that when the event has been generated, the control from client tier will be moved to the middle tier. The job of the middle tier is used to perform the basic operation or the logic operation can be done at the middle tier. Inside HTML forms, the input, select, text area tags are used to specify user input elements. A form can have any elements of each type. The simplest user input element is an input field, a stand-alone tag with no terminating tag. Let us see an example of input tag. Input type is equal to double quote text, name is equal to double quote title. This is an example where the web page has been designed which is having only one text field which is named by the title. The input tag have several attributes. First attribute is type attribute, name attribute and value attribute. Type attribute determines the type of the input field. If the type attribute has a value text, then the field is a text input field. If the type attribute has a value password, then the input field is a text field where the entire characters are displayed as a star on the screen. If the type attribute has a value reset, it is a simple button that resets all input fields within the form to their default value. If the type attribute has a value submit, then it is a button that sends the value of different input field in the form to the server. The reset and submit input fields affect the entire form. Next attribute is name attribute. The name attribute of the input tag specify the symbolic name for this field and used to identify the value of this input field when it is sent to the server. Name has to be set for input tag of all type except submit and reset. In the above example, we specified title as the name of the input field. Next attribute is value attribute. Value attribute of an input tag can be used for text or password field to specify the default contents of the field. For submit and reset button, value determines the label of the button. Consider an example of HTML page which is having the two fields and one button. When the button has been submitted, the value and the name and the password will be transferred to the JSP page. Here the form tag has been used. The form tag under action we have specified name of the JSP file. Similarly, we can specify Java page, Java code. I will say page.java. Here the code has been making use of JSP. A form, action, name of the file where the control has to be transferred and method is called get and the name of the form is given as login form. This name attribute is an optional. Then the HTML page creates two input field. One is text, another is password. To create a text field, we'll use a tag called input followed by type is text, and name is given for the text field is user name, and the default value is given as 0. Next field tag page indicate next line. Next input tag type password name password. Then another input tag is used for creating the button called submit. The type is submit, and the value is nothing but log on is a label to the button. When the button has been clicked, the two values username and the password has been sent to the page.jsp code. This is a simple example to make communication between client tier to a middle tier, where middle tier make use of an JSP code and client tier we are used as an HTML form. Here we are explaining a passing argument to server side script. There are two different ways to submit HTML form data to the web server. The first one is if the method is get is used, then the content of the forms are assembled into the query URL and sent to the server. If the method is post is used, then the content of the forms are encoded as in the get method, but the contents are sent in the separate data block instead of appending them directly to the URL. Thus, in the get method, the form contents are directly visible to the user as constructed URL, whereas in the post method, the form contents are sent inside the HTTP request message body and are not visible to the user. Using a get method gives the user the opportunity to bookmark the page with constructed URL and thus directly jump to it in subsequent session. This is not possible with the post method. The choice of get versus post should be determined by the application and its requirement. If we are using a login page, then instead of using a get method, we have to use a post method. Assume that we have designed a login page and made a method as a get. Once we enter username and the password, after clicking the submit button, the username and passwords are visible on the URL screen. Depending upon the requirement of the web page, the method can be made either get or post. In this slide, we are discussing about JavaScript in presentation layer. What is JavaScript? JavaScript is a scripting language at the client tier with which program can be added to the web page that run directly at the client. JavaScript is often used for the following type of computation at the client. First one is browser detection. JavaScript can be used to detect the browser type and load a browser specific page. Next one is form validation. JavaScript is used to perform simple consistency check on the form field. For example, JavaScript program might check whether form input that asks for an email address containing the character @ if all required fields have been input by the user. The form validation is mainly used to check the validation of the input. If we take an example of email address, in an email address, @ symbol has to be validated and followed by .com, .in, and the remaining things are going to be get validated by using a form validation. Next one is browser control. This includes opening page in customized window. For example, pop-up advertisement at many websites are programmed using JavaScript. The JavaScript is usually embedded into the HTML document with special tags. Script tag, and the script tag has the attribute, language attribute and source attribute. We'll see in detail. JavaScript is usually embedded into an HTML document with special tag, that is script tag. Script tag has the two attributes. One is language attribute, another is source attribute. The language attribute which indicates the language in which script is written. For JavaScript, the language attribute is set to the JavaScript. Another attribute is source attribute. The source attribute which specifies an external file with JavaScript code that is automatically embedded into the HTML document. Usually, JavaScript source code file uses .js extension. Let us see the format of JavaScript file included in the HTML document. Here we are using a script, within that the language attribute making use of a JavaScript. So I have to specify JavaScript, and source will be given as name of the file name of the JavaScript with an extension of JS. This validated form is the file name of the JavaScript. This JavaScript can be embedded within the HTML page. Let us take an example by making use of to display an pop-up box with welcoming message using JavaScript code which has been embedded in HTML. Here the HTML tag is being opened, then we need to specify which type of scripting language we are using. Then for that we have to make use of a script tag. Open script tag, the name of the attribute, language attribute is equal to specify the type of the scripting language we are using. Here we are using a JavaScript. Then alert is a JavaScript method which is used to display a pop-up message as welcome to JavaScript page. That alert should be written within the tag open tag, exclamatory symbol, 2 hyphen, then alert message, then close the tag. At the end the scripting has to be closed. This is a simple code which is used to display pop-up box method, pop-up box message within a web page. JavaScript provides two different commenting styles, single line comment and multi-line comment. The single line comment start with the forward slash, whereas multi-line comments start with the forward slash star forward slash. JavaScript has the variable that can be number, boolean, string and some other data types. The global variable have to be declared in advance of their users with the keyword var, and they can be used anywhere inside the HTML document. When we suppose if you want to display any variables, then we are making use of a keyword called var a semicolon. Now a is a variable which can be act as a global variable throughout the HTML page. Variable local to the JavaScript function need not to be declared. Here the variable do not have fixed type but implicitly have the type of data to which they have been assigned. For example, if I declare the variable var where a is equal to 10, then the variable a is indicated of type int. If I declare var a is equal to 1.1, then the variable a is indicated as float. If I declare var where a is equal to within a double quote hello, then variable a is indicated as string. The type of the variable is mainly depending upon what type of the value we are going to assign. JavaScript can also support assignment operator, arithmetic operator, comparison operator, logical operator. Here in JavaScript, the string can be concatenated using the plus character. Suppose I have declared as where a is equal to 2, where b is equal to 3. If I make a plus b, instead of giving 2 plus 2, it is going to concatenate to result. JavaScript contains the type of statement such as assignment statement, conditional statement, and looping statement. JavaScript allows function creation using the function keywords. The function can be called from JavaScript code and function can return value using the return keyword. Let us see the syntax of conditional statement. All the conditional statement has to be written within the parentheses. If condition followed by opening brace statement, then closing brace, else opening brace, then statement and close the brace. Similarly, the looping statement has to be written within the parentheses. In order to create a function, we'll use a function keyword called function followed by name of the function and takes the argument or may not take the argument and followed by what type of the operation has to be written. This is a simple example of JavaScript function that is used to check whether the login and password fields in the HTML are empty or not. For that, we are making use of a JavaScript along with an HTML page. Let us see the JavaScript. Here we are using a scripting tag and specifying the language is equal to JavaScript. It means we are making use of a JavaScript code. So tag explanatory symbol open, we have opened the tag where we can perform the actual operation. Now test login empty is a function, so I have used the keyword called function. The test login empty is the name of the function. Here login form is a variable is equal to document is a class dot login form. The login form is the name of the form. You can see in the HTML the form name is equal to login form. That is login form is the name of the form. This HTML code has been deployed into the Servlet Java Servlet code. Then I am making use of conditional operator. As I told that conditional operator should be written within a parenthesis. So login dot form is the name of the form which has been pointed by the variable login form dot user ID. The user ID is the name of the text field. You can see user ID is the name of the text field dot its corresponding value I am taking equal to null. If it is a null, here login dot user id dot value will get as a null value if it is equal to null, or login form dot password is the name of the text field called password dot its value has been took, and again it is going to check out if it is null or not. If it is null, then I am going to display a pop-up message that please enter value for user ID and password with the help of an alert method. If it is not, it is going to display pop-up message and return the false message to the return the false value. If it is not, then it is going to return a true. Here you will see HTML page. Here in the browser we will going to display please enter your user ID and password. The form tag we have been created. The name of the form tag is given as login form. Same thing, we are using a documented login form, and method has been used post, and action is used as JSP code, and we have made use of method called onSubmit method, where the here return can be false, return can be true, that can be pointed by the onSubmit method. When we enter the values in the username and password, when we click a submit button, the control from onSubmit will be moved to the test login empty method. The control from HTML page with the help of an onSubmit will make use of return test login empty. The control will be transferred to the method of function name of test login empty of JavaScript, and you specified table content of JSP file. The control will be transferred to here, and it is going to find out method called test login empty method and process the data. And if both the username and password are invalid, the alert message has been displayed, and the return, it is going to return the false. That false message will be come back to the again HTML page. This is how JavaScript has been used for checking the username and password is empty or not. In this slide, we are discussing about cascading style sheet. A cascading style sheet defines how to display HTML elements. Styles are normally stored in a style sheet, which are files that contain style definition. You can see example, these are the style definition which are stored in the style sheet. Many different HTML documents, such as all documents in a website, can refer to the same CSS. In order to refer HTML document of the same CSS, then we will make use of a link. That link is going to add CSS file in order to design the website. Thus, the format of website can be changed by changing a single file. Now, whatever the format will give in a CSS file, the same the format is going to be get affected to the website. This is a very convenient way of changing the layout of many web page at the same time. Then consider an example of style sheet which has been stored in the file called book.css. The style sheet contains the body color which has been set as an yellow, the body background color which has been set as an yellow. Then header size has been, font size has been set as a 36 point, and header 3 the color has been set as a blue, and paragraph has been made at margin left, and the paragraph color has been set as red. When these properties are being used in any HTML page, the HTML page is going to be get affected. What are the properties has been assigned in a CSS. Now, in order to deploy the CSS file into the HTML page, we'll make use of a tag called tag link. Specify the type of the sheet, style sheet, and type is CSS, and the reference link is given as a book.css. The book.css contains properties which have been assigned to the style sheet. Here we are made as body as yellow, header 1 as font size, header 3 as blue color, and paragraph we made as left margin, and color has been set as a red. The same single CSS file can be used to n number of HTML file.